Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? What's going on? Hey, Robin. Hey, Aisha. Oh my goodness, seems like everybody is on today. So happy Valentine's Day to each and every one of you. To my beautiful wife who is watching, happy Valentine's Day to you. Man, we are in for a treat on today. This is the love day. This is Valentine's Day. So we want to make it count. You want to do all you can to really just let that other person know that you love them, that you appreciate them, so on and so forth. So I want to indeed just welcome you to Increase. Those of you who are new, excuse me, thank you so much for joining us. Um, I'm just elated, man. I'm happy. Today is a beautiful day. No complaints whatsoever. I got the hiccups for whatever reason, but I'm just happy. I'm excited about all things that's going on in just today, just this week. I mean, I want to start this week out positive. I want to start this week out, you know, on a high note. So I'm just grateful and elated for all things that's going on. And again, I just want to welcome you all to Increase. And so today's podcast, I want to talk because today is Valentine's Day, right? So I want to just ask the question, is love enough? Is love enough? That is the question that we want to answer, break down, look into all of that. Like, we really want to look into those things and just really say, yes, it's enough, or it's good, but it's a key factor, but there is more to it. There's more to it. So, when you talk to people about the word love, even though it's a four-letter word, everybody has a different definition of what love is, what love looks like. You have some who will go to the Bible and say, well, this is what the Bible says about love. Then you'll have others who will say, well, I'll piggyback off of what the Bible says, and then I'll say, this is what love looks like. When you look at, take those online surveys and everyone's love language. So then the question is, okay, is my love language love, or is it love broken down into compartments so that I can see love being made manifest in front of me? Or it's the way that you can apply love to another person's life. So I want to get into all of that because it's so much into it. But today is Valentine's Day, and this is the day, where we think about the person who we love the most. If you have children, this is also the time where you try to teach them how to love on another person, or to be caring and compassionate, so that they grow up seeing love being expressed in many different ways, right? So my question again, we go back to the question: is love enough? When you're in a relationship, Aisha said no. Amber says no need. No, you need action. And so, but for some people, they say that um, in order for you to love, you have to do something, right? So that's that. Here we go again. So it's like, is it really love that I'm looking for, or is it other components that should be attached to love? So it's like, I need companionship, I need I need consistency, I need all of these things, and then we'll have love there. And or are you saying love is all of those things, and they're expressed at different times, they're dispatched in different levels, and and because of that, then we're able to say, okay, this is what love looks like. Oh, love is respect. You got to have, okay, you say respect. So I mean, here's some of the things, you know what I'm saying, like we really want to get into. So okay, so here's the Bible version. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 13, it says, though I speak with tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have to get the prophecy, understand all mysteries, and know all and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I can remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing. So then here we get to the meat of love. It says, love suffers long, love is kind, love does not envy, love does not parade itself, love is not puffed up, love does not behave rudely, love does not seek its own, is not provoked, love thinks no evil. Love does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hope all things, endures all things. Love never fails. So could it be that we may be looking at all of the key components of this world, right? The things that we have seen, heard, experienced about love, and really just saying, well, these are just manifestations, or these are ways of applying love to one's life? Or are we still saying that love, as we understand it, is not enough, that there is more to it? I know that in Greek, there are many different words to describe various kinds of love, whether it's brotherly love, whether it's like a friendship kind of love, where there's an arousal, like a lustful type love. Like there's so many, there are many different words to describe that one word. But the question still remains is, or what we need to answer is, so then how do we define love so that we know if love is enough? Or to know that we've not been in lust or love, but we've been in possibly lust or infatuation. If we're gonna base our definition of love off of the Bible, and I just read it out of the New King James Version, then we'll begin to kind of look at some of the things that we're saying we want or is love, and say, well, the scripture says this is what love is, or this is what love is supposed to do. That love is an action word, and that we are to not just say with our lips we love, but also demonstrate our love. Could it be possible that we've really taken what we thought was love, and then we received abuse, and so we have a skewed view of what love is and how love truly operates? And we were to really just have a heart-to-heart conversation. You guys let me know in the comment section, some of the things that you believe, because I don't want to just say, well, this push my belief or my thought on you, but I want to keep it as transparent as possible, but also give you the platform to say, well, this is what I believe it is, or this is what I see love as being, so that now when you're doing whatever your day to day, or you're in your relationship, and even today, if you're receiving your balloons and candy, or whatever your gifts are, or whatever your means of expression of love on today, or throughout the week, or whenever, then you can begin to go, okay, well, on increase, we talked about that. Like we took a little in-depth look at love, and then not only try to define it or try to look at it from a biblical standpoint, but really looked at it and go, okay, maybe I've been off, or maybe I've been spot on and I just haven't seen it to its fullest potential. Because one thing is for certain is that we go through various levels of love. And what I mean by various levels of love, we experience it sometimes in great intensities, and sometimes it's very minuscule. And so as we are experiencing these highs and lows as in the parameters of love, or what we think is love, then we can surely begin to fully understand, or fully begin to look at our life and go, possibly there was more love there, but it was love that I did not fully understand. Like for our children, they don't fully understand how much you love them, that in many ways you put your life on hold so that you could cultivate them in this world, so that you could give them the things that you possibly didn't have, as well as give them things that you did have. You know, um, it says, I believe that it is an action word that continues to evolve depending on the relationship and the level. Lisa says love is an action word. So we're getting to some nuts and bolts of things then, right? Like it evolves, it changes. Sometimes you may give more so much as an expression of love in areas where the other person isn't. Aisha even talked about, like in different levels. Like, where's your relationship at? Is it rocky? Is it in a good place? Is it in a okay place? If it's in those areas, then possibly we need to turn the love up. I want to share something with you that we'll talk about it probably in detail later. But love is also a serving word. Like action, you're serving. When what I mean by that is, instead of trying to see who can give gifts the most, or who can show up in your events, or what you have going on, or what you're trying to produce more than the other one, serving each other in a capacity where you're like, I want to make sure that they're good. I want to go above and beyond. I want to make sure that they see, that they feel, that they know, that they understand that it is expressed on all avenues and on all cylinders. And before you even type it in the comment section or say it, you know, people who experience burnout in those areas, possibly it's time for you to let it go. Because when you really begin to look at love and and being expressive to it, it's also an investment. It's also, you also understand that just as many highs as you desire, there's also going to be lows that you're not going to desire. And even though we love, or we understand that there are going to be moments of lows, who said the moment is going to be 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, or whatever? Sometimes it's on an extended period of time. And though you may get weary in it, it's not fully about, well, look at what I've done, or what have you. But it's like, at this moment, this person needs me, and I truly love them. I would want them to do the same for me, and not get burned out, or not get to the place where they want to give up. It goes to, if you're, Christian or whatever, you don't want God to give up on you or get tired of you. And so you have to really kind of take it on a situation type basis, because you definitely want to make sure that you're reading the situation correctly. And you want to make sure that this person who you're caring for, whatever, is understanding or seeing that, okay, this is not someone who is trying to manipulate me or use me, but this is a genuine situation. And so, in the comment section, you guys are really, really sharing with us, and I'm so grateful for it. So, someone said, anyone can say I love you, but showing it means a lot more. Put action to what is being said. No time limits. Absolutely. Because again, we're talking about love. We're not trying to keep a score or a tally as to who does what and all of this stuff. Because now I'm thinking about, I want to make sure that it's reciprocated. Like I get that back. Reciprocity happens. And it may not always come back in the same way that you gave it. So I think we're getting to the place where we're really understanding some of the dynamics of love. So again, the Bible tells us and it shares with us, around verse 4, it begins to talk about how love suffers and things of that nature. But if you kind of go up to verse possibly number 2, and he talks about how, he says that though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains, but have no love, I am nothing. So it almost as if you can do a thing for people, but that doesn't mean that you love them. So that means I can care for you, I can feed you, I can clothe you, I can make sure you have shelter, I can present you with gifts, I can take you on trips, we can laugh. But if there is no love inside of you, if there's no love in what you are doing, then it's nothing. He said love comes in many different forms. That is so true. I think love is not just taking, but sharing. I think these are critical thoughts, right? I mean, y'all let me know in the comment section what you're thinking about, because again, if we base it fully off of the action, and I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor, I can do all of those things. It even talks about I give my body to be burned and all of this other stuff so I can sacrifice my life for you. But if I don't do it out of love, it means nothing. I just did it for an outward show. I did it so that when people look at me or at you or at the situation, it's like, oh, that was nice. I watched this short clip of a girl. She was in a relationship and her boyfriend needed a kidney to live, right? He was about to die. He's in the hospital. He's on the machine. They're like, hey, you need a kidney in order for you to live. No matches came up in the registry for him. All the ones that were available were already spoken for to be placed into someone. He had no other donors. His girlfriend then gets tested, find out she has a perfect match, perfect blood type, everything. She donates her kidney to him because she said, I love him. I want him to live. He's not a fiance. He's a boyfriend. So he goes, he gets her kidney. He lives. While he's in recovery, he cheats on her with some woman or whatever. And then right at around like her birthday or something like that, they end up breaking up. He ends up breaking up with her. And so now she's in a place of sadness because he left, not because she gave him the kidney. That's just icing on the cake. But she said, I loved you enough to make sure that you lived, and you broke it off with me. And so that goes to show that her action of love meant little to nothing to him. And so we have to look at that, and I say we as in, increase, because I want to ask you, the question is, Not if you've ever been in a situation where you displayed love and didn't receive it, but have you ever been in a situation where someone was giving love and you didn't receive it? Where you rejected someone who was doing acts of kindness, love toward you, and you rejected them? Because it's always easy to play the hero in your story. It's something different when you reject it. Now, you may have your reasons for your rejection of it. We're not going to go into that. But just think about it. You can write in the comment section if you like, but just think, has there ever been a time where someone did something that was out of pure love and you just said, no, I don't want that. Or you just snub them all together? Hey, we all have been young. We all have been foolish. We've all made choices in our life that we possibly would not want to do again or whatever. But because of, we matured and we've grown up, we put away a lot of those things, those decision making, those way of thinking that we used to have, that we no longer, subscribe to anymore. So if you be honest, put a one in the chat. Yes, I've done that before. I'm guilty of it. It wasn't something recent or whenever it happened, but just put a one in the comment section if that's something that you've done before. You just brush somebody off. You may have put them in the friend zone. They really had a genuine liking toward you and whatever, but you was just like, "No, you're not my type" or whatever. And no, it's okay. Nah. Nah. Nope. It's okay. They genuinely love. I'm like, nope. Nope. Nah. Mm-mm. So if you've experienced those things and you understand and you can see how, even though you may love a person, that they may not always receive it. That I showed my actions, I was there, supportive, whatever. But we still got to answer the question: is love enough? So I think, let's go a little bit deeper. How is, when we think of love, our minds have to be at a place where you're not looking at that person as an enemy, or you're not looking at them as someone who is trying to do something to you to bring you harm or to place you in an uncomfortable situation. I think a lot of times our mind plays more into the role of our life than we oftentimes don't want to give it credit to. That a lot of times, because of, like how we talked about in our episode of bitterness, you've been in such a pattern of disappointment that even in the most genuine moves of love or actions of love, you find yourself looking at acts of love as some kind of means or way of manipulation, a way or a means of control, a way or a means of diminishing what you are, who you are, what you bring to the table. And the other person really doesn't even know anything about what's going on in your mind. They don't see what you see. They don't hear what you hear in your head. And one of the things, especially when it comes to love, is that communication. But what is equally as important as communication when it comes to love is intent. So we can't just put, communication above this. Communication and intent are neck and neck. I love that. Listen, I love that song. What's love got to do with it? But can we, when we look at that, even in that particular song, even when we look at that song, it truly diminishes the power of love. And I think this is where I just want to take a pivot and a turn to today's topic and talk, is that love is more powerful than what we give it credit to. The Bible says that love covers a multitude of sin. Love, what we have been looking at as, well, this goes with love, and this is accompanies love, or it complements love, is actually another mechanism or another move to describe what love does and what love is. Jesus says, well, I love you so much that I gave you my only begotten son. He not only showed action, but even in the midst of going of us rejecting him, the Bible even says God commanded his love towards us. He's like, I'm gonna send it anyway, and I'm gonna cover you in places, and I'm gonna overlook things that normally or possibly, had you been in a different position, then there would be some consequences and some repercussion to what you have done. I think that in love, we find companionship. In love, we find our voice. I think that many of us, we've been fighting love because we've been attaching other things to it that have nothing to do with love. That love can go with it to a point, but it's not what love is in its totality. God is love. God is kind. God is gentle. Love sometimes is aggressive. Sometimes love is abrasive because you want the other person to not only understand where you're coming from, but the intensity that you feel it. Take, for instance, when you're talking to your child who is small and they're running away from you, and you don't want them to run out into the parking lot or into the street. Because you love them, your voice gains another octave of weight. The vibrato of your voice, the trembling and the concern in your voice echoes throughout the wavelengths of the air to gain the attention of your child, even while they're laughing and looking back while steady doing what you're telling them not to do. Love sometimes feels like it's controlling, because in order for you to tell someone that there's a brick wall in front of you and I want you to stop so you don't hit it, sometimes you have to grab them by the arms and pull them back, even if it causes them or brings them to a place mentally where they want to walk away. At least you can put your head to pillow and say, I warned them to the best of my ability. Many of you possibly have lost a friend or even a loved one, or even your child, for a brief moment because you told them, don't date this person because they're no good for you. Don't deal with them because the troubles that they're dealing with now is going to spill over onto you and you're going to ruin your future. Don't be friends with them because they really don't have your best interest at heart, that they really don't care, that every smile doesn't mean that they like you and that they're happy for you. And so it seems controlling because they don't understand where your words are coming from. Sometimes love even looks like sabotage, because when you begin to really dive into it, you would rather them, if they're gonna fall back on you than to fall on their face. Sometimes even love looks like abandonment, because if they're going into a direction that you've repeatedly shared with them, that the only way that they're going to get it is that you have to step back and let them experience it for themselves. And so we have to, I like this. I like this. It says, though different experiences with love, people react differently when others display love to them. Absolutely. And sometimes, and you know what's so funny about love is that infatuation looks so much like love that is scary, because as long as you keep doing what you're doing, as long as you, like the hamster in the wheel, you keep jogging at the same pace, the other person keeps doing what they're doing. So then you say, well, man of God, hey, Alpheus, how can I tell? How do I know that I'm dealing with infatuation more so than love? You're right. She says you could tell them, but it doesn't mean that they're going to listen. So they don't care that we have experienced it and are trying to tell them differently. Absolutely, absolutely. And so we have to. That's why love has endurance. It doesn't give up easily. Even when you step back and let them fall into whatever trap or wall or whatever, you're still there, not to say I told you so, but to pick them up and go, all right, this is what we need to do differently. Well, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about yourself? So that now we can move forward, because we can't just stay here. But when you look at love and when you're trying to understand if you're dealing with infatuation or not, one of the things that is important to understand is that no one remains the same the entirety of the relationship. No matter how much they try to put on this facade or whatever, people change, bodies change, attitudes change, you change locations, things change. One day you're healthy, next day you're sick. One day you got a unbroke arm, next day you have a broke arm. Things happen. You find out when it's love or when it's infatuation in those moments wherein you take a dive in a relationship, whether it's sickness, whether it's a move, whether it's a disagreement. You begin to learn, okay, is this situation or is this disagreement based on or is coming out of, differences of opinion, or is this intensity because I stopped doing what I was normally doing? And that can take time. But in the midst of all of those things, you also learn about yourself. And you're absolutely correct. Change is inevitable. It happens. And one of the great things about love and about being in a relationship is that at least in the relationship, when you're with someone, that they're changing with you, that you both have a level of communication wherein when those things happen, you don't become strangers. There's nothing like when you're in the turn of your life, wherein you're doing a career change, or there's a sickness that happens in the relationship, or things of that nature, and as you're turning, you look over in your relationship, and you look over and you go, dang, I have a complete stranger. I don't even know who this person is. Oh, we can't just be around individuals who we think, oh man. And I'm gonna leave this up for a second, but we can't. When you look at your in a relationship, you don't want to go, dang, who is this person? Like I don't recognize them anymore. Not because they some physical change, but it's like we're no longer on the same page, or we're no longer talking the same, or we both shut down from each other. You have to keep that communication open, because love communicates. Love in whatever way, shape, form, or fashion. It has to be done. But someone just commented, and I want to deal with that a little bit. And says some people think love abuse is love, and that's where you get with also infatuation, because we're so busy caught up in the what you're doing for me and all of this other stuff that we don't even sometimes see the subtleties when abuse begins to start, because abuse doesn't start when someone swings at you, right? Or when they start cursing at you or down talking you. It sometimes it starts out in the low blows and a joke, the throwing you under the bus. It is the abandonment, the consistent abandonment, um, in times in your life, the constant berating of making the other person feel like they're a disappointment, or the consistent stating of, well, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. Every time something happens, I don't want to be here. I want a divorce and all of this other stuff. I think that as we continue to um understand what love is, you'll begin to see that actually love is enough. But what it takes is a person who is trusting in love enough to let love be enough. You're absolutely right. You do have to break that chain. We have to, there's so much to discover about humanity and about the things of God. That is the mystery of God. That is so wonderful. That is so amazing, that the moment you think, I know this and I know God and whatever, God will, it seems like God could just point a leaf in a different direction and wham, you're in a whole different, like, arena, whole different area. And it's so wonderful to discover those things, especially when you get yourself from the place of looking at what's happening to me and start looking at it as what's happening for me. My gosh. We have, I, yeah, this is when I finally met someone who actually was real. I had to punch myself to make sure it was real. Because love, I can even say that for myself. There were aspects of love that I had no idea was even, it seemed like a fairy tale. It wasn't real. It wasn't something not only that I was accustomed to, I didn't even think it was possible. And so it brings you not only to a place of bliss, but it also puts you in a place of responsibility, because now I am responsible for what I am receiving. And this precious gift that is loved, that is love, is so crazy that you'll find yourself, if you're not careful, like someone just wrote in the comment section, I was trying to provoke them. Like, you'll start trying to take love, move love out of the way, because you want to, go back to what you were accustomed to, what you thought love was. But you got to realize, like, love is enough, and like, God is love. And so that means that God is enough in what he has placed. Hey, Mia. Oh, man. I'm so happy she's on. But you really got to begin to look at it. Love causes you to change your mind. Love causes you to mature. But you got to want that thing. Like, you got to take love out of the box so that you can begin to see how big love is. When the Bible says love covers a multitude of sin, it's like it covers a multitude of my shortcomings, of my missing the mark, of me perpetually being a disappointment, but I'm striving to be better. So even though I'm missing it, even though I may hurt feelings It is never my intention to hurt a feeling or to make someone angry, put them in a place of anger or resentment, but I'm striving to get better. And because the communication is there, you really begin to go, okay, this is something that I got to work with, but I also got to take this to God. Oh, this is good. You guys are helping me today. I hope we're helping each other. Sometimes negative reaction to love is learned behavior and or reaction to never receiving love in a positive space. Sometimes negative reactions to love is a learned behavior. I was cultivated to reject love. I was cultivated to say this isn't real. I was cultivated to say this, that I'm not enough, that I'm not worthy. Who am I to let someone love me like this? Who am I to say that I haven't paid the cost or paid my dues to be loved and to be cared for in this manner? Who am I that I am worthy of someone's embrace and it's not in a sexual connotation? Who am I to love on my kids and it puts me in the mind of what I've seen on a television sitcom, that when they mess up, instead of me hitting them or yelling at them, but I embrace them and we use it as a teaching moment, or that I deal with my significant other, my spouse, in a manner that instead of the conflict bringing a wedge and separating us, it actually brings us closer together. Like my negative reaction has to be challenged. So now I have to challenge the way I think about love, because love is enough. I just don't think love is enough, because I've more so challenged love than challenged the way I thought about love. I challenged what love was bringing me, what God was sending my way, more so than me challenging myself, my thought process, the way I was taught, the people who I've seen in relationships and in various situations, that wasn't love, but this is. So I need to begin to readjust my view, not only of love, but also what love has in store for me. This is great. This is amazing to really look at that and begin to challenge years of conditioning, years of learned behavior, years of this is what I want, but I know I'm not going to get it. This is, the challenging of there is someone out there for me, like, but I have to know that. I have to allow even the other person who brings me disappointment to allow love to come and mend those areas where disappointment is. So instead of me allowing bitterness and resentment to set in, and then anger and resentment turn to bitterness, I allow love to come in and begin to bring restoration. And instead of it being a place of weakness because of these things happening, I am strengthened because now not only did I place it in God's hands, but now we're working toward a greater future. And I know more about myself, and I see love doing things that now has opened up access points to other areas that now I and my relationship has matured. Just something to make you think. Thank everyone who came on. Thank you for who are going to watch later. I know that this was awesome. Just to talk about love on a day that we celebrate love in some capacity or another. That's not an anniversary, whether it's dating or engagement or marriage, or it's not a birthday, but really just set aside to say I love you. I like that. Some people didn't know how to love because it was both shown to them. It was not shown to them. Absolutely. So it's there's so much to dig into that. There's so much to dig into it. I want to leave you with this thought. Don't let yourself get to rock bottom before you understand that you are worthy of love. For even if you are alone, or even if you're in a relationship, you're worthy of love on every level and every aspect of your life. As you continue to seek love, not just in other people, but seek love even from yourself, forgiveness comes into play because you have to forgive yourself of how you looked at love. That sometimes it wasn't that love was trying to hurt you. Sometimes love was correcting your vision about people and situations. And so it was not wrong to love. And it wasn't that you were loving the wrong person. It's that sometimes our love has to come from a distance. Other times, our love needs to mature because what we were doing, what we were thinking was love, was really just doing acts of kindness because you didn't see yourself as a lovable person. When you understand that love is so much bigger and greater than any force on this planet, that it's bigger than hatred, it's bigger than lies, it's bigger than betrayal, it's bigger than anything. And that's why sometimes when we lose a loved one, we feel like we are at a loss because we won't receive that person's love in the physical form anymore. But you have to really understand that though they're not here, the love that they've expressed throughout their lifetime is always with you, not only in your heart, but also in the lives of every person that they've touched. Love is not only action, not only energy, but love is everything around us. And the moment we begin to fully allow love to do its thing and allow love to change us, we'll see the hardness of hearts in this world begin to crumble, and we'll have a genuine respect for each other. We'll have a care for each other that you won't even believe. It'll almost seem like something from a Hollywood movie. Love is so consuming that it's in one moment it's like burning fire and uncontrolled energy. And then in the next minute, it's so soothing and so calming that it could literally put you to sleep. So today, not only just look at your spouse, your significant other, or whatever, and go, I love you. Go in a mirror and look at yourself and go, I love you. Flaws and all, because love covers it. Love says, even when you don't think you qualify, it doesn't matter because I love you. The first act of love is not toward our children or even toward our spouse. It's toward ourselves and God. For when I love me, it's because I'm looking at God in me. And so I'm able to express that to other people. So love without limit. Let love lead you. Let love encompass you. Do things, when you do things out of love, don't even keep the receipt. Because if you can keep a tally of all the things that you've done, it wasn't out of love. You were trying to keep a quota. But if you just continue, you let your life just be led out of love, you'll find yourself doing so much throughout your day in your life that you won't be able to keep account of all the things that you have performed and released into the world. Sometimes your greatest act of love is a smile on your face and a "hey, how you doing" to a complete stranger, or to someone who seems like they're going through something and you don't even really know it. Love is so, so powerful. Thank you, Lindsay. That means so much to me. Love is so powerful that it would allow you to look at a person who has a smile on their face, but you can feel, because love has allowed you to connect to everybody around you, to everything around you, to the point where nothing sneaks up on you because you just love. You exude it. It's pouring out of you. That's love. The kind of love where you can just sit there and look and just smile, not only at what you've created, but at the potential of things to come. I hope today's increase puts you in a happy place, puts you in a place where you think a little bit different. I hope you all take this and you share it. Take this and listen to it tomorrow or whenever. But make sure that you look at love and go, I used to say love wasn't enough, but I've become to realize the more I look at love, love is more than enough. I've been trying to exit love out of my life, and that's the one thing that I've been needing. That's the one thing that I desire. It's just love. Because in love is acceptance. In love is understanding. In love is respect. In love is action. In love is sacrifice. In love is compromise. In love, you will put yourself in harm's way so that the other don't feel the darts, don't feel the pain that this world will ever try to inflict on them, because you love. So have an amazing day. Have a stupendously wonderful day. Get some sun, soak in some fresh air, and open yourself to another level of love. This has been Increase. Thank you guys so much for joining.